This is with Melissa Lauder. And Melissa has been really on top of things as far as what's been happening with the Oregon refuge situation and the Bundy Ranch situation and all our patriots that are in prison. And what we're hoping to do today is a Mormon thing. And Melissa and I have been talking about this lately, and we're both, I guess you could say, we're disenchanted with the leadership of the Mormon Church and them sitting back and not doing anything. And it's even more than that. Information that I have, which I will not share at this time, but they're not lifting a finger to help our patriots and those individuals such as Ammon Bundy and Ryan Bundy and to get out of prison. And they were doing nothing more than trying to support the Constitution of the United States, which as Mormons we have the 98th section of the Doctrine and Covenants, and it says anything more or less than the Constitution cometh of evil. So I'll let Melissa kind of tell her story as far as the fireside the other night and some of the things that we've talked about. But you pretty much have come to a decision that we need to exercise some faith.
Yeah, absolutely. I attended a fireside last week on Sunday, and it was for single adults. And the topic of the fireside was that faith. You know, how strong is our faith? Are we exercising all of the faith that we have available to us? And once exercising that faith, are we recognizing the powers and the blessings that we're able to call down from the heavens? And it was interesting to me to note that most of the people in the room really kind of didn't get it, but it really resonated quite a bit with me that, you know, the heavens really are just waiting for us to ask for their help. And as soon as we can ask for that help and we believe that we're going to get the help, then we have unlimited amount of power and blessings that we can call down, not only to act on our own behalf, but to help our fellow mankind. And so that really prompted me to be more proactive about exercising my faith, because I feel like I do have great faith. I believe in many things, I hope for many things, and I know that many things will come to pass. But how can I be more of an example to those people that don't have that depth of faith? So I reached out to Brand and expressed my concerns, and you know, if no one else is going to stand up and do it, and I feel like the priesthood is asleep and that the men aren't doing what that power and authority calls for them to do, then those of us that have the understanding and have the knowledge and have the ability to stand in front of people and say, I'm not ashamed of my faith, I believe in my faith, and I'm willing to share it with you and help bring those blessings to the rest of our fellow mankind. You know, and Brand was on the same page with me as far as that goes, and so here we are.
Well, one of the things I really appreciate about you, Melissa, is you know, the priesthood might be sitting on its palms right now, but the women aren't, to a great extent. I'm hearing more and more, you know, just like these different gals that have been fighting for the patriots, like what is it, Mo and Melinda and Sharon Buck, and you know, and I'm seeing it in a lot of different places where the women are actually much more faithful and loyal to the gospel principles than the men are. It's really kind of embarrassing. It kind of reminds me of a scripture that Lieutenant Colonel Roy Potter and I have thrown around. You'll hear me mention his name from time to time. I can excuse his presence because he's been quite ill. And when you see this, Roy, please get better as fast as you can. Roy and I usually do this stuff together because what we're going to do today, you need 2 or more witnesses. And Melissa's going to be a witness, and I think she deserves to be a witness. And that brings me back to a scripture I was going to mention. I believe it's in Jeremiah, where it talks about the Lord in the last days shall do a strange thing in the earth with the women, that they shall encompass a man. And we've gone over and over and over, Roy and I have, like, what does that mean? And I finally came to the conclusion anyhow that the women are going to take hold of the matriarchal authority which they are entitled to, And it's called the Law of Sarah, and it's extremely powerful when you really understand it. And they are going to take the reins. When they do find men that are exercising the priesthood, they're going to be protectors of those individuals. Now, that's my take on it, right or wrong. So, and I come to that conclusion, Roy came to that conclusion some time ago. Then, next thing I know, here's Melissa giving me a call for these what I consider these very reasons. So, you know, one of the things that I have discovered over the years is if the priesthood, whether it be patriarchal, Melchizedek, if it doesn't stand up and do the right thing, the matriarchal priesthood, the authority that the women have, they most definitely will, because their desire is towards their family and their children. And when their families and their children come under attack, look out. I know that for a fact. Look out, and they will take the reins and they'll do whatever it needs to be done. So, and specifically what we're going to be doing here today is found in the 103rd section, Doctrine and Covenants. I believe it's verses 24 through 28, but they're priesthood curses. And, you know, curses is an interesting word throughout the scriptures, but it's really a protection. And I addressed this in a previous YouTube clip, that what it does is, even though it says they are sealed up to eternal damnation, in the Mormon belief system, eternal is another word for God. And damnation simply means to stop, and our God is stopping them in a certain endeavor so that they don't dig a hole so deep they can never get out of it in the eternal worlds. So it's not like there's vindictiveness in what we're going to do today, but it's actually, and I wrestle with this all the time, but it's actually out of love. I'll tell you, I get really upset with the things that are going on at this time. With our patriots, with Ammon and Ryan, and you know, the murder of Lavoie. And forgive me, I all the time failed to mention other patriots, such as Buddha, Brian Cavalier, I guess is his actual name, and Jason Patrick, and you know, I mean, just go right on the list. Sean Anderson and John Ritzheimer and Blaine Cooper. You know, they're all very special people to me. And, you know, when I stop and I think about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can hardly stand the thought that, you know, especially those that got all these little children, okay, and their daddies aren't there. And the wives are missing their husbands, and they're trying to get by and make a living. And I find myself getting very, very angry, and I have to digress from that and realize that in order for these ordinances to have any impact, it actually has to be done out of love. You know, I had Lieutenant Colonel Potter do a YouTube clip for me not too long ago, and I told him I wanted to put a timeline down, and when we did these curses on certain individuals, and you could go back and look at the timeline and see exactly what's happened to them since, and they've been going downhill. And that seems to be the way it works. I don't know how much different it is than when God said, talking to Israel, said, I'll curse those that curse you, and I'll bless those that bless you. This is just taking it up another notch. That's really all I can say about that. So we'll get on with it, unless Melissa's got something else she'd like to add at this time.
No, I think we're good, and you know, we are mindful of all of the patriots that are out there. So even if we didn't mention your name, I know Ryan Payne, Pete Santilli, Jared Delemus. There's several others. This is for everyone. No one is to be excluded from this. So we're praying, and the actions that we take are on behalf of everyone, even those people that are not sitting behind bars, because many people have sacrificed a great deal, whether it was time or money, whatever it's been. So this is for everyone that is trying in their heart and in their deeds to do the right thing.
Well, I just thought of something else. Thanks for mentioning Jerry Delemus. He's one of my very favorite people, and he's a wonderful man, and I'm sorry I failed to mention him. There's people, now this is going to be titled when I start my new YouTube blog, and it's going to be titled for Mormons only and other saints. So it's coming from a Mormon perspective. And I know I'm going to have some of my Christian friends out there are going to take issue with certain parts of these, and that's okay. You know, historically, this is all documented in the New Testament. Jesus told his disciples to dust off, if they go into a town, a city or whatever, and they're not received, they're to dust off their feet. Well, they wore sandals back then. There was very little water. Water was a premium. Here we got plenty of water all the time, but water was really a premium in those times. But when they're wearing sandals and they're out hiking around, they get sweaty, okay? And that moisture is in the sand. And when they dust it off their feet as a witness against them, it's actually a recording, because water has a very strong memory. Everything can be, and I believe it's one of the books of life. And like this water right here, I will stand in it. I do this curse, and whatever is in me, in my heart, in my being, it's transferred. That information is transferred to this water. Because water is electromagnetic fields, it goes upstream, downstream just as fast. It goes into the earth. It goes everywhere really, really fast. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Melissa to kind of take up some time until I get my boots and socks off and stand in the water. You don't have to stand in the water, but if you want to speak about anything else, go ahead.
Well, we're not trying to separate ourselves from other Christians saying that, you guys won't understand what we're doing here. One of our core beliefs that we have, and that's in our articles of faith, is that we believe that each man and each religion can practice their religion as they see fit. So we ask that you be tolerant in us practicing ours the way that we see fit, and we will be tolerant of you practicing yours in the way that you see fit. And that's really the ideal situation for us here on this earth, is to be tolerant of each other.